Welcome to my channel, Stories Hub.
Today's story: History of Cellular Jail. The history of Cellular Jail is associated with an important and sad chapter of the Indian freedom struggle. This jail is built in Port Blair, the capital of Andaman and Nicobar Island, thousands of kilometers away from the land of India. It was built by the British to imprison the fighters of the Indian freedom struggle, which was located thousands of kilometers away from the main Indian land. This jail is also known as Kalapani. There was a time when India was ruled by the British. Indians started being oppressed due to the rule of the British in India. Seeing the oppression on the Indians, some Indians set out to fight against the British government. But they could not win this war. After this, Indians revolted against the British government many times, but there was no significant benefit. After 100 years of rule, the British had completely enslaved India. The British government started feeling that now all Indians would remain their slaves for life and would never be able to become free. Then in 1857, such a revolution took place which forced the British government to think of leaving India. After this, the British government saw many movements against itself every day. To stop these movements, the British government thought of building a new prison. Then in 1896, the British government found a place which was thousands of kilometers away from India and was in Port Blair, the capital of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. In India, this place is also known as Kalapani. This prison was built in 10 years. There are 694 cells inside this prison. The purpose of building these cells was to prevent the interaction of prisoners. Construction of Cellular Jail. The construction of Cellular Jail started in 1896, and it was completed in 1906. Its design was such that each cell was completely separate from each other, and the prisoners did not have any facility to contact each other. The main purpose of the jail was to break the revolutionaries mentally and physically, so that they give up their struggle. This jail is a silent witness to the atrocities committed by the British government on the freedom fighters of India. Only 3 parts of this huge prison, spread like an octopus in 7 branches, are now left. The names of the brave martyrs are written on the walls of the prison. There is also a museum here where one can see the weapons with which the freedom fighters were tortured. Purpose of the jail. The British government built this jail especially for Indian freedom fighters. Revolutionaries of those times like Veer Savarkar, who were active in the freedom struggle, were sent here. By sending these fighters to Kalapani, the British government thought that this jail would break them completely, but on the contrary, this jail emerged as a symbol of Indian nationalism. Veer Savarkar and Cellular Jail. Veer Savarkar's name is associated with the history of Cellular Jail. He was arrested in 1909 and later sent to Andaman. There he wrote his book, The History of the First War of Indian Independence 1857, in which he presented the 1857 revolt as a freedom struggle. During this time he was subjected to mental and physical torture, but he ultimately continued his struggle against the British rule. Brutal tortures. The prisoners in Cellular Jail faced extreme physical torture. They had to face long sentences, hard labor, and mental harassment. The revolutionaries were put to hard labor day and night, and were never allowed to meet each other. As a punishment, they were subjected to extremely difficult conditions to distract and demoralize them. Status of Cellular Jail. Over time, the condition of the jail deteriorated, and it was finally closed by the British rule in 1938. Now this jail has been converted into a museum dedicated to the struggle and sacrifice of the Indian freedom struggle. Modern status. Nowadays, this jail is famous as a historical site and a symbol of the Indian freedom struggle. There are national monuments and museums here. which keep the struggle stories of freedom fighters alive. A part of the Cellular Jail is still preserved and reminds of the Indian freedom struggle. Historical importance of Cellular Jail. This jail is not only a physical structure, but it is also recognized as a symbol of the spirit of the Indian freedom struggle, revolutionary struggle, and the identity of Indians against the British Empire. It can be called the Monument of Martyrdom of India. The Cellular Jail will always live as a precious heritage in Indian history. When India became independent in 1947, the political leaders wanted to preserve it as a historical heritage. That is why it was converted into a national monument in 1969. On March 10, 2006, the jail completed a century of its construction. On this occasion, many famous prisoners were honored by the Government of India. Today, people from all over the world visit this jail. Even today, this jail tells the story of the atrocities committed by the British on the fighters of the Indian freedom struggle.